Globalchimica, a company with over 50 years of experience in the chemical sector, is involved in the production of new lines of silicone and polyurethane elastomers for the construction of molds and flexible matrices. We produce two lines of elastomers, the silicone Globalsil and the polyurethane Elastomstamp. Globalsil and Elastomstamp are two-component liquid rubbers which, once mixed with their special catalyst, are capable of hardening at room temperature. The special physical-chemical characteristics of the molds obtained allow the reproduction of the shape of an original model for an infinite variety of manufactured articles: statues, rosettes, cornices, fountains and garden articles, decorative ceramics and candles, gaskets and mechanical components, but also soles for footwear, automotive prototypes or archaeological findings. Let's see how to best utilize our elastomers. First of all, if the model is in a porous material such as cement, plaster or wood, it is treated with products that seal the pores. This prevents the rubber, which is highly liquid before hardening, from penetrating the pores and creating difficulty in the subsequent delivery operations. In order to do this, we can use sealants based on polyvinyl alcohol such as VPA separator or lac, or polyurethane paints applicable with brush, spray or pad. A thin layer is all that is needed, thus avoiding any loss of the reproduced detail. While we wait for the sealant's volatile component to evaporate completely, we prepare the mixture. Before combining the base and the hardener, these are mixed separately to homogenize the components that may have separated during storage. To obtain the required amounts, the base and the hardener are weighed using scales with a deviation of about 1 gram and successively mixed together for a couple of minutes. This is done with a drill and a helical rotor operating at a low RPM to avoid air entering the mixture. The mixture is then transferred to another container and remixed for a few seconds. This ensures that any of the product that has not blended well with the catalyst remains on the sides and bottom of the first container. We now return to our model and apply a release agent. Please note that when using Globalsil silicone rubber, if the model does not have a porous surface, for example metal or plastic, the prior use of a release agent is not required. However, if Elastomstamp polyurethane rubber is being employed, then release agents must always be used. It is well worth applying the agent to a caisson or dolly if used. With the models and mixture prepared, we can now pass on to the application of the rubber. The mixture is slowly poured onto the model whilst endeavouring to avoid the trapping of any air. The working time of the rubber varies from 12 to 30 minutes at 20 degrees centigrade. At higher temperatures, the time is reduced. It is well worth bearing this in mind during the working. With the hardening completed, we smoothly remove the rubber mold. Our model is ready for the next castings. Let's look at another example of the technique applied in the open air to a rosette. We seal the model that in this case is porous. While we leave it to dry, we prepare the mixture. We stir the two components and mix them in the right proportions, pour them into a clean container and mix them once more. We slowly pour over the rubber. The rubber is applied as far as the edges and then left to harden. For Globalsil rubber, optimum hardening is obtained at a temperature of between 10 and 35 degrees centigrade, whereas for Elastomstamp rubber between 18 and 25 degrees centigrade. However, good results are also obtained between 10 and 30 degrees centigrade. The other, hollow space technique, is a bit more complicated and is suitable for the reproduction of articles rich with undercuts and a lot of detail. This technique involves the construction of a dolly that can be in plaster, cement or resin reinforced with fiberglass. The dolly is built in two tallying and separable halves. The model to be reproduced is placed inside, leaving an airspace of 1 or more centimeters into which the rubber will be poured. When hardening has occurred, the two halves are separated and the mold can be extracted. The model is freed by cutting the mold vertically with a cutter. The mold will then be inserted in the dolly upside down, naturally with the two halves closed again, thus acting as a containing caisson. Before delivery, we wait at least 24 hours. For Elastistamp rubber, optimum characteristics are obtained after 7 days and after approximately 48 hours for Globalsil. With low tearing strength types for footwear, the time is reduced to 1.5 to 2 hours. Once delivered and hardened, the models are ready for use. Let's look at a couple of examples using a plaster we produced. While the Globalsil rubber molds do not need a releasing agent, with Elastistamp rubber, the mold should be treated before every pouring with a thin layer of releasing wax. As always, we proceed with caution, slowly pouring and evenly distributing the product. And here are our 2 reproductions, faithful in every detail. Everything takes place at room temperature. You can create any type of mold for any object. Absolutely faithful reproduction of every detail. Ease of production and application. Excellent demolding properties and minimum linear shrinkage. Continual research aimed at formulae improvement, the elaboration of specific syntheses, and considerable flexibility are the cardinal points of our company. Globalchimica, giving shape to your ideas.